Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura
Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Can someone please read?
I can read if anybody is not reading.
Yeah,
Anybody?
yeah.
Okay. All the Mayavadi sannyasis replied, "We shall be very much pleased to hear you, because we see that you are just like Narayan, and your speeches are so nice that we are taking great pleasure in them. We are very much obliged to see and hear you. Therefore, we shall be very glad to hear patiently and accept whatever you say." The Lord then began to speak on Vedanta philosophy as follows. The Vedanta Sutra is spoken by the Supreme Lord Himself. The Supreme Lord, in His incarnation as Vyasadeva, has compiled this great philosophical treatise. Since Vyasadeva is an incarnation of Supreme Lord, he cannot be likened to an ordinary person who has the four defects which arise due to the contact with the material existence. The defects of a conditioned soul are: he must commit mistakes, he must be illusionized, he must possess the tendency to cheat others, and all his senses must be imperfect. We must understand that the incarnation of God is transcendental to all these defects. Thus, whatever has been spoken and written by Vyasadeva is considered to be perfect. The Upanishads and Vedanta Sutra aim at the same goal, the supreme absolute truth. When we accept the direct import of Vedanta Sutra and Upanishads, that is glorious. But the commentaries made by Shankaracharya are indirect and thus very dangerous for the common man to read. For by understanding the import of Upanishads in such an indirect, destructive way, one practically bars himself from the spiritual realization.
So, Prabhupada is pointing out very Lord Chaitanya is saying this. Lord Chaitanya is saying there are four defects of the common man. We all agree that we have four defects.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can't say we are perfect. And so Lord Chaitanya is saying, now Vyasadeva, what he has written Vedanta Sutra, that is perfect. Why? Because he is incarnation of the Lord. So he does not have these four defects. But Shankaracharya is not incarnation of the Lord. And so Shankaracharya's commentary on what Vyasadeva has written, that is imperfect. What Vyasadeva has written, Vyasadeva wrote the commentary Vedanta Sutra. That's perfect because he is incarnation of the Supreme Lord. But Shankaracharya is not. So because his commentary is not perfect, it bewilders the mind of the people who reads them, confuses them. Yeah.
According to the Skanda and Vayu Puran, the word sutra refers to a condensed work which carries meaning and import of immeasurable strength without any mistake or fault. The word Vedanta means the end of the Vedic knowledge. In other words, any book which deals with the subject matter indicated by all the Vedas is called Vedanta. For example, the Bhagavad Gita is Vedanta because in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that the ultimate goal of all the Vedic research is Krishna. Thus, One should understand that Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which aim only at Krishna, are Vedanta.
Ved means knowledge, Anta means end, end of knowledge. End of knowledge is to understand Krishna. Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Vedascha sarvar ham eva vedya. All the Vedas point out. All the Vedas are there for us to come to the point of understanding Krishna. And so that's the reason Lord Chaitanya is saying Bhagavad Gita is Vedanta, Bhagavatam is Vedanta. They're all bringing us to Krishna.
In transcendental realization, there are three divisions of the knowledge called Prashantatraya. That department of knowledge, which is proved by the Vedic instructions, like the Upanishads, is called Shruti Prasthana. Authoritative books indicating the ultimate goal and written by liberated souls like Vyasadeva, for example, the Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, and Puranas, especially Srimad Bhagavatam, the Mahapurana, are called Smriti Prasthana. From the Vedic literature, we understand that the Vedas originated from the breathing of Narayan. Vyadavas, who is an incarnation of the power of Narayan, compiled the Vedanta Sutra, Naya Prasthana. But according to the Shankara's commentaries, Aparantaratma Rishi is also sometimes credited with having compiled the aforementions of the Vedanta Sutra. According to Lord Caitanya, the conclusion of the verse of the Panchatantra and the aphorism of the Vedanta are one and the same. Since the Vedanta Sutra is compiled by Vyasadeva, it should be understood to be spoken by Narayan himself. From all the descriptive literatures dealing with the Vedanta Sutra, it appears that there were many other rishis, commentaries with Vyasadeva who also discussed the Vedanta Sutra. These sages were Atriya, Asmartha, Adulomi, Karanshnaji, Kashtrikashna, Gemini, and Bhadri, while other sages such as Parashari and Karmandi discussed the Vedanta before Vyasadeva.
So Lord Chaitanya is saying, what are the three ways of getting this knowledge? Prashthan Traya, Shruti Prashthan. We get knowledge by hearing. Hearing. So hearing from the Vedas. That is hearing. Then Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahabharata are called Smriti because they are written about the Lord. They're written not by ordinary people like you and me, but written by Srila Vyasadeva, who's the incarnation of the Lord. So that's why it is Smriti Prashthan. It is another way of knowing the Lord. So one way of one way of knowing the Lord is hearing about Him. Smriti is the remembrances, is being spoken about Him. And then Srila Vyasadeva, he wrote the Vedanta Sutra. Because the Vedas are so vast, he coded it. It's in code. You know how you have to encode something. So Vedanta Sutra is like in a coded language which can be expanded. So that's the Nyaya Prashna, logic. So he wrote it perfectly. But people who are trying to put a commentary on him, they are not perfect. And that's where the problem comes. Then Lord Chaitanya is also saying that Pancharatra and Vedanta, they are the same. The conclusion of this is completely the same. Srila Vyasadeva is Narayan himself. Now, the Vedas were spoken by Narayan, so whatever Narayan and Vyasadeva are saying, it is the same, since Vyasadeva is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord, and it seems that Vedanta Sutra was not only heard at the time by Srila Vyasadeva, but there were his contemporary rishis also who were discussing Vedanta Sutra, and there were rishis before him also who had discussed the Vedanta. So the point we are trying to understand is that Srila Vyasadeva's commentary on Vedanta Sutra is perfect. because he's incarnation of the Supreme Lord. But now, who is writing commentary on the Vedanta Sutra? We have to see that person's authority. That are they perfect to write the commentary on? Is that clear?
Yes.
Because by reading an imperfect commentary, then people's mind get confused. Oh, who is the Supreme Lord? There becomes a big confusion then. We continue.
In the first two chapters of Vedanta Sutra, the relationship between the living entities and the Lord and the Supreme Lord is explained. And in the third chapter, the discharge of devotional service is explained. The fourth chapter deals with the result of discharge of devotional service. The natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra is Srimad Bhagavatam. The great acharyas of the four Vaishnav community sampradayas, namely Ramanuj Acharya, Madhav Acharya, Vishnu Swami, and Nimbarka, have also written commentaries on the Vedanta Sutra by following the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam. The followers of these acharya, down to the present day, have written many books following the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam and accepting it as the natural commentary on the Vedanta. Shankara's commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, known as Shararika Bhasya, is very much adored by the impersonalist scholars. But such materialistic commentaries are completely adverse to the transcendental service of the Lord. Consequently, Lord Chaitanya said that direct commentaries on the Upanishad and Vedanta Sutras are glorious. Anyone who follows the indirect path of Shankaracharya, Shararika Bhasya, is certainly doomed.
So Vedanta Sutra, because now Prakāśānanda Saraswati and his followers are saying they want to hear the Vedanta from Lord Chaitanya. So, because what they have heard is Shankara's commentary, and that's the reason they are confused. Now they want to hear the real Vedanta. So Lord Chaitanya is saying, Vedanta, the first two chapters, there's a relationship between the living entity and Supreme Lord. That there's a Supreme Lord and there's a living entity, and there's a relationship between them. When we are speaking of relationship, means there are two, can't be one, right? Isn't it? How can we have a relationship with our own self if we are saying there's a living entity and Supreme Lord, and the relationship is explained? And then in the third chapter of Vedanta, there's a discharge of devotional service. So when devotional service is being spoken of, means someone is doing the service and someone is receiving the service. Means there are two. Means it's not one. Isn't it? When
Correct.
you're saying, yes, thank you. Yeah. And the fourth chapter deals with result of discharging devotional service. So Vedanta is also saying, what will you get when you engage in devotional service? So Vedanta Sutra is very clear that there is a living entity and there is Supreme Lord, and there is a relationship between them. It's not that all is one. That all is one confusion is just because of the unauthorized commentary. And the natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra is, of course, as said by Vyasadeva himself, is Srimad Bhagavatam. The author of Vedanta Sutra is Srila Vyasadeva. He himself is saying, I've put the commentary on Vedanta in Srimad Bhagavatam. And all the Vaishnavacharyas of the four sampradayas, they follow the Srimad Bhagavatam. They have also written commentaries, but they have written commentary based on Bhagavatam, not deviating. There's no deviation. We can say, oh, how come they are writing the commentary? Because they're just following the same thing what Srila Vyasadeva is saying. If the child asks the father, what is this? Father says, microphone. So the son says, okay, this is microphone. That's it, finish. So the Vaishnavacharya is also repeating the same thing what Vyasadeva has said. Yeah, so this is what Lord Chaitanya is saying, that the direct commentaries are good, but The indirect commentary, that's where the problem comes. That's where the confusion comes.
Just one question. In this, there are the 4 acharyas. So Vishnu, Swami, and Nimbarka. So who of them is from the Rudra and Kumar?
Vishnu Swami is from the Rudra, and Nimbarka
Rudra,
Acharya
okay.
is from
4 Kumaras.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Lord Chaitanya admitted that Shankaracharya was an incarnation of Lord Shiva, and it is known that Lord Shiva is one of the greatest devotees, a Mahajan of the Bhagavad school. There are 12 Mahajans, great authorities on devotional service, and Lord Shiva is one of them. Why then did he adopt the process of Mayavad philosophy? The answer is given in the Shiv Puran, where the Supreme Lord tells Shiva, Dwapar युगे भूत्वा काल्य मनु सादिषु स्वागमी कल्पितस्त्वं च janam mad vimukham kuru. In the beginning of Kali Yuga, by my order, bewilder the people in general with Mayavadi philosophy. In the Padma Puran, Lord Shiva tells his wife Bhagavati Devi, Mayavadam shastram prachanam buddham uchyate mayev kalpitam devi kalau brahmana rupina brahmanasya param rupam निर्गुणं व्यक्सते माया सर्वस्वं जगत् अपि अस्य मोहान अर्थां कलौ युगे वेदान्ते तु महाशास्त्रे मायावादम् अभिधीकं मायेव वक्ष्यस्ते देवी जगतं नास्य कारणात्. The Mayavad philosophy is veiled Buddhism. In other words, the Buddhist philosophy of Buddha is more or less repeated in the Mayavadi philosophy of impersonalism. Although the Mayavadi philosophers claim to be direct by the Vedic conclusion. As a Brahmin boy, I manufactured this philosophy in the age of Kali to mislead the atheist. Actually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has his transcendental body, but I describe the Supreme as impersonal. I also explain the Vedanta Sutra according to the same principle of Mayavadi philosophy.
So Lord Chaitanya is then speaking to the sannyasis, the Prakāśānanda Saraswati, as to who is Shankaracharya actually? Where does he come from, and why did he do what he did? So the scriptures, in Shiv Puran, there is mentioned that Krishna is telling Supreme Lord is telling to Shiva that you come and you write this Mayavad philosophy, bewilder the people, because he wants to keep out the atheists. He's preparing that Lord Chaitanya is going to come give Krishna prema. He wants to keep out the non-believers. And Padma Puran, Lord Shiva himself is telling his wife that he's going to come and he's going to give this impersonal philosophy. He's saying actually the Lord has a transcendental body. Of course, Lord Shiva knows that the Lord has a transcendental body. Why? Because Lord Shiva is a Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. He's the best of the Vaishnavas. He's a pure devotee of the Lord. He's one of the Mahajans. So of course he knows the truth. But he's just doing this on the order of Krishna himself. It's a service. It's a service that he was given. So he does the service.
Lord Shiva continues speaking to Bhagavati Devi as follows. Shunu Devi Pravakshyami Tanu Tamasni Yatha Karmam Yesham Ashravana Matrena Patityam Jnaninam Api Apartham Shruti Vakyanam Darshaya Loka Garhitam Karma Swarup Tyaktvatam Artha Va Pratipadyate Sarvakama Parishbhram Tan Naishya karmamya tatra chotyate par atma jivayor ekyam mayatra api apratipadyate. My dear Devi, sometimes I teach Mayavad philosophy for those who are engrossed in the mode of ignorance. But anyone in the mode of goodness who happens to hear this Mayavad philosophy falls down. For when I teach Mayavad philosophy, I say that the living entity and the Supreme Lord are one and the same.
So here Lord Shiva himself is saying that what he's teaching is not true. He's just doing it to bewilder the atheists.
Sadananda Yogendra, one of the greatest Mayavadi acharyas, has written his book Vedanta Sara. The absolute truth of eternity, knowledge and bliss is Brahman. Ignorance and all products of the ignorance are non-Brahman. All products of the three modes of material nature are covered by ignorance, and all are different from the supreme cause and effect. This ignorance is manifested in a collective and individual sense. Collective ignorance is called Vishuddha Sattva Pradhan. When the Vishuddha Sattva Pradhan is manifested within the ignorance of the material nature, it is called the Lord. And the Lord manifests all kinds of ignorance. Therefore, he is known as Sarvagyan. Thus, according to Mayavad philosophy, the Lord is a product of this material nature, and the living entity is in the lowest stage of ignorance. That is the sum and substance of the Mayavad philosophy.
So anyway, Lord Chaitanya is trying to say that this person who's written this commentary, he's saying that God is also material, is a product of this material nature. So God is also a material. So that means everyone is material. So that means material nature is the most powerful. That's why it's called Mayavad, saying that Maya is more powerful than everything else, right? Because if Maya can make God, so means she's stronger than Maya, right? But anyway, that's just
Really?
not.
So they mean that Maya is more powerful.
But if you logically think, this is actually what they're trying to say, right? Like if you logically try to hear this, if you say that God is covered by Maya, that means Maya is more powerful than God, that she can cover up God. So then Maya is God then, because God means the most powerful, isn't it? Logically
And if you cover
speaking.
the God, yes, if you cover the, then you are, yes.
So then
Wow.
logically speaking,
Okay.
then that theory is that Maya is God, Maya is supreme. But then Maya is not supreme. Maya is just energy. She's the illusory potency. So itself there's a flaw in this. You see, if you logically try to understand, there's a flaw in itself.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Now, the thing that you're saying that Maya is covering God, that means she's stronger. But who made Maya? Isn't that also a question?
Exactly. Who has made Maya? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Maya Dyakshena Prakriti, Devi hi esha gunamaya. He says Maya is, but you see, we have to understand Maya is covering God that is not real. Maya can never cover God. That is just a made up philosophy which we should not believe in.
Yeah, because
Maya
basically God made Maya so that, she, I don't know how to put it, like she's basically testing every human being or every living being to come closer. Like, are you you want to get connected to Krishna, or are you really interested in knowing Krishna? So she is basically like a testing unit. Like she
helping
tests you and then she puts you forward, right?
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
That's right. Yeah.
So basically this logic, what they are talking about is not correct, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Because it's illogical.
So then the whole Mayavadi falls down because this makes no sense.
No, but according to Mayavadi, everything is like the light, right? They can't see beyond the light, right? What I have understood.
That's
No,
right.
that's right. But then they say that it has covered everything. But then how can even Maya be so powerful? Yeah. So like that means that their philosophy it falls down then.
Yeah, because like they're thinking, like their thought process is very narrow. Like they don't see the broader thing. Like, today they are just seeing the light. But who is giving that light? They are not analyzing that. Where
Yeah,
the
they don't-
light is actually ultimately reaching to, like, from where it is generated from, that they are not realizing. But
yeah,
like their thinking is very small, na? बोलते हैं छोटे सोच का इंसान है.
Right. But बहुत है मायावादी. I think India में जिससे भी सुनो वो मायावादी ही है.
Okay, I'm not aware of that because, like, my family is not very spiritual or very religious. Like, we don't have such discussions. But like, ऐसे जब read करते हैं तो समझ में आता है ना कि like हर एक चीज देने वाला वो खुदा है. Like, he is the one who provides everything. The light also is provided. Then how can you say the light is the ultimate? Like,
Yes,
that
yes.
is my thing. I don't know.
No, you're right.
No, but that's why I don't understand why did Krishna do like instruct Lord Shiva to come.
Okay, so then we have to understand. Then why did he do that? Because see, Buddha had come to
Buddha had
stop
come before.
unnecessary killing. Because on the basis of Vedas, people were killing. So he said, don't
That was
follow
like
the
animal
Vedas.
slaughter,
But
right? You're
now
talking
he
about
had to
animal
bring.
slaughter, right?
I'm
You're
sorry.
talking about animal slaughter, right? Buddha came to stop the animal slaughter.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
in that he would say, don't follow the Vedas, because they were arguing based on the Vedas. Ki, Are Ved mein likha hua hai, you can slaughter animals, so I'm going to slaughter the animal.
Yeah.
And they were not ready. They were not ready. The thinking had become so degraded, they were not ready to understand what is the truth. So Lord Buddha said, don't follow the Vedas, just follow me.
Okay.
And then he left. Then what happened? Lord Chaitanya has to come. He has to teach the Achintya Veda philosophy. So, but the people are like so atheistic, not following the Vedas. So, and from them, that completely not following the Vedas, it would be very difficult for them to understand that not only there is God, the living entity is there, that there are two personalities. So from 0 to go to 2, it's difficult. So from 0 to come to 1, it's easier. That's why Krishna told Shiva to come as Shankaracharya, to at least bring back the faith in the Vedas that yes, there is God, that yes, there is God. Okay, but we are one.
I just got lost in the discussion. Sorry, Hare Krishna. I forgot. I just got lost in the discussion. Buddha came to stop animal slaughter, and he said,
That's right.
don't listen to the Vedas. You just follow what I say. Correct? So
Yeah,
people
so
were
when
not
you're
believing the Vedas.
Yeah,
The
so when
original
you
Vedas.
so when you say don't believe in Vedas means there's no God. Indirectly, you're saying that. It's atheism. It's covered atheism. Because Vedas spoken by.
मतलब you just believe in me, मतलब मैं ही सब कुछ हूँ, बाकी दुनिया में कुछ नहीं है. मतलब that kind of a thing.
Yeah. And then again, now Krishna has to bring people's faith back into the Vedas. Ki haan bhai, God hai. So to bring the faith back in the Vedas, he told Lord Shiva, you come and you give this impersonal theory. At least people's faith will come back in the Vedas. They will understand. They will have some conception that God is there.
What is it that Lord Shiva gave?
Lord Shiva said there is God, but that you are that God. I am that God. People say that yes, right now I have forgotten I've God, but after I get liberated, I will become God. That's what is that's the philosophy Lord Shiva taught.
And you are God, I am God. We all are God.
We all are God. Matlab, then it becomes the same thing, no? Like what Mayavadi say, कि तुम भी नारायण, मैं भी नारायण, सब भगवान.
तो वही है ना. That's what he taught.
That's what he came to give. और 80% लोग यही बोलते हैं इंडिया में कि हम सब भगवान ही हैं.
So Lord Shiva came to give this. Lord Shiva came to give this. Because Lord Chaitanya.
But he did not say कि मतलब you are a soul, मतलब परमात्मा तेरे में बसता है. That was not the statement. Like that was not the concept that he taught.
No, he said that you are this Paramatma. Now you have forgotten. But when you get liberated, you will remember that you are this. Brahman.
Okay.
Yeah. He said, now you've
But
forgotten under Maya.
yeah,
Under
right.
Maya. Maya has made you forget that you are God.
Okay.
But when you come out of Maya, then you will remember that you are God. But then that's indirectly saying that Maya is greater than God.
Mm.
If you look
But
at
then
it
that
logically.
like if you sit to analyze, वो भी गलत है ना. मतलब
Exactly.
पर God माया में से तू निकलेगा तभी तू
तो
realize करेगा कि तू
बनेगा।
भगवान है. तो माया को बनाया किसने? तूने तो नहीं बनाया ना.
Exactly.
बहुत
हाँ,
stupid.
and I'm just trying to understand, like, you know, how somebody
Okay,
cannot
how?
actually this.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
I don't
why? Okay,
whatever. But
now you're coming to the point. Why somebody would not want to, why would somebody want to believe that, yes, I am God and I have forgotten? Because that's our desire deep down anyway, because of envy of Krishna and wanting to be Krishna. That
That's the
rebellious
reason
nature that we
here.
have.
okay,
So,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
that's why we are here. So he just ignited that desire that is in each of us. Arey, you're telling me I'm God and I've forgotten. See, I always knew it. You're so right. You know, you understand? That's the reason people believe in it. Because deep down, we have this wrong desire. And instead of correcting this wrong desire, we feel great. Then, yes, I always knew it. So the wrong desire continues then.
But after he taught us, I mean, after he said that, like Sri Shankaracharya, and then at the end he says, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja
Yes.
Govindam, Budavate.
Yeah,
Right?
because
And
after
then
all, he's a
people
devotee.
are ready to accept.
Yeah. After all, he is
That's
a
the thing.
devotee, so he has to say Bhaja Govindam, Madamute. Then he says you're a Muda if you don't Bhaja Govindam.
Yeah, because Lord Shiva is the Vaishnav.
Yeah.
Devotee.
That's
Vaishnava,
right.
Everywhere in
Yes.
Mayavadi, they always say Krishna's name everywhere, Govinda, Govinda. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Now,
to
thought
keep
funny,
the
it actually doesn't connect to anything. Like there's no chain that follows each other. It's like it disconnects, and then again there are two things that connect to each other. It's basically not a correct, like continued chain, I would say.
not logical. It's not logical. That's right.
Yeah.
I think
It's
the
not
situation
logical.
was such, as such,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
to come.
Yeah,
Right?
the
That's what.
condition was needed, so it
Needed
all
to
happened.
come.
Yeah.
That's right. Like why
According
Buddha
to
came. Yeah,
that's
because
what.
that time there was too much
Time,
of
place, and circumstance.
For the
According to
moment,
time,
like,
place, and
yeah,
circumstance.
okay, makes
Mm.
sense.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna. Hare
हाँ
Krishna.
शिल्पा देखो हम समझ गए हैं कि अभी हम कृष्णा के अंश हैं और हमको जाना है वैकुंठ धाम में हेलो
हरी बोल आपका वॉइस ब्रेक हो रहा है आंटी
नहीं अब हम जान चुके हैं कि हम कृष्णा के अंश हैं और हमको वैकुंठ धाम जाना है ठीक है हाँ पर इतना सारा हमारे पास स्क्रिप्चर्स हैं इतने सब वेदास हैं और जो भी उपनिषद हैं यदि हम उनका ज्ञान प्राप्त करते हैं तो हम तो नहीं है ना
क्या नहीं है
इसमें खराबी क्या इसमें गलत क्या है यदि हम वेदांत भी पढ़ना सब चाहते हैं ज्ञान प्राप्त करना चाहते हैं
पर ये वेदांत
इसमें थोड़ा कुछ ये है ठीक है
तो हाँ ठीक है आप पढ़िए पर आप जो सही वेदांत है जो व्यासदेव ने लिखा है वो पढ़िए
हाँ तो इतना सब है हमारे पास हमारा इतना खजाना है हमारे हिंदू धर्म में इतनी सारी चीजें हैं तो क्यों नहीं ज्ञान प्राप्त करे
हाँ आप बिल्कुल पढ़िए जैसे अभी लो चैतन्य भी कह रहे हैं ना वेदांता तो व्यासदेव ने ही लिखा है तो जो व्यासदेव ने लिखा है वेदांत वो पढ़िए पर क्या है कलयुग में हमें क्यों वेदांत जो सूत्र है वो इतने डिफिकल्ट है उसको एनकोड नहीं कर सकते हम डीकोड क्या बोलते हैं डीकोड जैसे प्रोग्रामिंग डीकोड करना होता है ना तो हमारे पास इतनी बुद्धि नहीं है डीकोड करने के लिए इसीलिए वही से व्यासदेव हमें भागवतम दे गए हैं उन्होंने कहा भागवतम पढ़ो
नहीं,
commentary.
So concise hai na? It's a concise thing, right?
Concise. Yeah, concise. So we do not have the program to decode it correctly.
Yes, right.
But when you go to see, then Bhagavatam is also a little difficult compared to Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is so simplified. It's very easy for a normal common man, like for us, for me, I would talk about myself. I can relate to that because it's very simple and it's like simple language and it's not very intricate and very complicated. Not too many things, like not too many people around, not too many characters that you are listening about and getting related to. Like this is just one simple thing, just surrender, and that's all I'm asking you to do.
Yes, so that's the reason.
Yeah, but beginning even I couldn't understand Bhagavad Gita. Now I feel, now it's going a little bit down.
Like after reading it twice, reading with everybody twice and, getting explanations from Shilpa and Bhavna. It's like that one message is conveyed very clearly. But in Bhagavatam, honestly, like till date, I feel it's like, okay, if there's a story of a particular king or queen, then I follow that story. But then, in between, there are so many other things happening, then I lose my touch. Like I cannot, it's like not a continuation for me to understand. I feel personally very difficult to understand Bhagavatam.
Yeah, so Bhagavad Gita is like, it's how we do undergrad. That's Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is pointing out that you're not the body, you're the soul, surrender to me. You're part and parcel. Then Bhagavatam begins from that point. Bhagavatam begins, okay, you're surrendered, you are my devotee. Now what you should do? You engage in devotional service. That's what the whole Bhagavatam is about, devotional service. Engage in devotional service. Engage in hearing and chanting. The whole Bhagavatam
That's
is
like
about.
master. You're doing masters.
Yeah, masters. Then you do PhD, that you read Caitanya Caritamita. That, okay, what happens when you engage in devotional service? Then you're situated in relationship. Then when you're situated and we hear the relationship of Lord Caitanya with his associates, and so what is the result of that devotional service? So that is like PhD. So Krishna says, surrender to me, means what? Engage in devotional service. That's what Bhagavatam is. Engaging in devotional service. All the devotees, they're engaging in devotional service. Whoever we are hearing, Dhruv Maharaj, Prithu Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, all the great personalities, what they are doing? Engaging in devotional service. Devotional service begins hearing and chanting. That's what the whole Bhagavatam is about. Devotional service. Yeah.
I personally feel Caitanya Caritamita, what we are reading, it's like very, very easy for me to follow because it's like it's telling about his own story. Like, how things happen.
Teachings of Lord Caitanya. This book that we are just reading.
Teachings
of Lord Chaitanya.
This is like more easy for me to understand.
Yeah, because there's so much philosophy is given in such a simple way, right?
Yeah. This is like more easy. Like, it's like very simple. Like, samajh mein aata hai ye.
Yeah, that's why Prabhupada very early on in the movement, he wrote this, Teachings of Lord Caitanya. He wanted us to read this book. Yeah, it's true. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you
very
so
nice.
much. Thank you. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.